Welcome to episode 12 of the Audacity to Lead podcast, How to Invest in Yourself.
Looking to make the leap from potential to productive performance? Thinking of starting up with business, career, ministry, or your life tasks? Join Dayo Samuel on the Audacity to Lead podcast as he shares tips, steps, and strategies to help you chart a compelling course for your life. Hi, welcome to the Audacity to Lead podcast. This is the podcast dedicated to helping you get focused, get started, and be impactful. I'm Tara Ene, the co-host, and Dayo is right here.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Dayo, how are you doing today?
I'm blessed. I'm fine.
Okay, so now let's get started. We're going to be talking about how to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. Let's start.
Okay, how to invest in yourself? I think you will do much of the questions, so that I'll just provide answers to the questions.
Okay, so now, what does it mean by investing in yourself?
Investing in yourself is a very simple way of saying that you are preparing yourself for something big. Because most of the time, there's harvest that precedes, there's seed that precedes harvest.
Okay.
In between them is what's called time. What we often see as a result or product of people's lives are actually seeds that have been sown initially.
Okay.
And then when we bring it to the context of what we are discussing, 11 essentials of a great life task, we see investment as those things that you do apart from discovering your calling, identifying your passion, knowing where you fit in, understanding your uniqueness of being you.
Okay.
The next thing to do is to know what are the investments I need to make so that I can reach the maximum of my potential.
Okay.
So investing in yourself simply means that you are doing those things that will enable you maximize your potential. I'll use an illustration, something like this. Everybody buys something with money. Sure. Money is actually a form of exchange for something, whether physical or not. Now, this is what I discovered, that what you pay for can be two things. You either pay for something that is real,
okay,
or you pay for something that is not real.
Okay.
Let me explain it better like this. Whatever it is you pay for, whatever it is you exchange money for, is actually a value you want to get from something. So before you can get that value, you release money to get a value. Now, when you release money, you're either releasing money for a perceived value, or you are releasing money for a real value. Now, what's a perceived value? A perceived value, how do you know what's a perceived value? A perceived value can be identified by three things: pricing, packaging, and the promotions put into a particular product. That's how you know the real value, the perceived value. For example, if something is priced for 100,000 naira, you perceive it differently from something that is priced for 10,000 naira.
Yeah, very true.
Now, the real value could be completely different from the perceived value. Now, whenever you release money to acquire anything, you're either acquiring an asset or acquiring a liability. Of course, those are economic terms,
Okay.
But I want to use that to illustrate something here. Okay. Now, when you release that, what happens is you are, like I said, you are either acquiring an asset or you're acquiring a liability. Now, let me put it back to your calling and your life task. Whatever it is you release money for should be adding to your life task, should be adding to your calling. That means you are consciously releasing money, or really, it may not necessarily be even money, but you are making investments that will bring back an asset to you. Now, assets could also be two types, in that there are external assets and there are internal assets.
Okay.
Now, investing in yourself automatically means that as an internal asset, which is not external.
Okay.
Though you have to also invest in the external assets. External assets will include things like your packaging, the way you dress,
okay,
the way you carry yourself, your perfume.
Okay, I get it now.
Those could be external assets.
Okay.
Though they are not really assets in any way.
Okay.
But then when we talk about internal assets, we talk about three basic things. We talk about investing in your mental capacity, in your physical capacity,
Okay.
and in your spiritual capacity.
Okay. So what can you classify that under? Is it like the 3 tips or what?
Well, I don't prepare any 3 tips. I don't prepare any 3 tips. Yeah, just get together today and just share on how to invest in yourself.
Okay. So now you said mental what?
Capacities, like you can invest in yourself mentally.
Okay.
And if I'm going to explain that, that will include the way you can invest in yourself mentally will be like maybe like books, tapes, courses, and materials that will help you deliver your calling in the maximum way.
Just like you earlier said, you like whenever you like money comes when you create value.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I heard you say mental, spiritual, and what?
Physical.
And physical. But I didn't hear financial. And most of us are concerned about finance. So
well,
where can you put that? Or is it that it's joined, it's intertwined with the mental aspect, or what?
Investing in yourself, like I said, so physical, mental, and spiritual. If you are investing in yourself financially, how are you able to do that? Are you swallowing money?
So that you can vomit money out.
The only financial investment you can make to yourself is actually to get educated, to learn about money.
So that you can
to
create
learn
more
about
value,
finances. Yeah.
Oh,
And actually that's part of mental investment. Because it automatically goes into the group of books, tapes, and courses or materials. Anyway, there's something I did not even mention. When it comes to investing in yourself mentally, there's one other aspect, which is to get a coach. That is, get a coach, like get somebody who you will be accountable to, who will take you through. You don't, like I always say, you don't have to invent the whole wheel. There's somebody who has invented the wheel, who has actually gotten the results you are looking to get. So what you need to do is just hook up with that person and let that person guide you through the whole journey.
The mental, what did you call it again? The mental what?
Investment.
Okay.
Yeah.
The mental investment.
Like listening to this podcast now is part of mental investment.
Oh, it's true.
Because you are listening to something, you are learning something.
Yeah. Okay. It reminds me of a friend, Mabel. She is a gentle person. Calm.
I know you always tell stories.
Of course. She's a gentle person. She's very calm, and she just likes to stay on her bed all day. And then she thinks. Every time I see her, I ask her, "What's wrong with you?" And she tells me, "I'm thinking about money."
Serious.
I'm thinking about money. But she never gets up to do something that will give her that money. All she does all day is lament, and lament.
Why calling that thinking? I said, why she's calling that thinking?
Exactly. So it makes her moody. It makes her depressed. It makes her lazy. She just stays on the bed all day just thinking. I'm thinking about money. That's what she does.
Well,
so I think I should ask this. So what is the advice you can give to someone who is challenged with this whole, I want money, but I'm just lying down on my bed waiting for money to knock on the door?
Thinking about money, we won't get anything done.
Okay.
Like my friend Julius Osimhen once said on the Audacity to Lead conference, he said, "Ideas rule the world."
Okay.
But don't be deceived. It's only executed ideas that rule the world.
I like that.
So if all that you do is just to sit down on your bed, or maybe you even sit at a table, and all you just do is generate ideas, you are thinking about money, generating ideas, and you never get to doing anything, that money won't come, because you are only blessed by the work of your hands, not by the thoughts in your head.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you get that right?
Yes, I do.
So now, as you asked the question about money, let me just explain something.
Okay.
Money is a license to freedom. in that it frees you to do the work that matters. But beyond money, there's something more important, and that is you, the results you get. If all you do is to sit down and think, and you generate ideas, like I said, and you don't do anything about those ideas, you, of most men, be miserable.
I just remember a story told by a great man. He said, imagine a person with a black belt or a black belt holder in martial arts, and then the person, you hire the person as your security guard. So you're walking on the road, let's say late night, and then somebody stops you, and the martial arts guy, and then the person slaps you. Then that person you hired, the martial arts guy, folds his hand and say, boss, don't worry. It's just that, I have the potential to deal with these people, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to, I don't want to just show myself. I'm just going to, hold my hands, and then they beat up the boss, and then the guy says, boss, I have the potential to do that, but it's just that I didn't want to beat them, but it's just I didn't want to beat them, but anyhow, don't worry, let's just go, sha. What will you do to that? Sorry, what will you do to such a person?
I won't give him a sack letter.
What would you do?
I was communicating.
Can you imagine? So it explains this.
Yeah.
People don't pay you for potential. They pay you for performance. Okay.
But I think another solo to lead this afternoon, one of the things I wrote, that is Twitter Hangouts, one of the things I wrote was, God made you to have several potentials,
okay,
but He wants to reward you for any of those potentials. Well done, good and faithful servant, is only for the servant that actually goes ahead and does something with the potentials he or she has.
That's why servant is as in the word servant. If you hear it very well, even in its spelling, you see it has something to do with serve.
Yeah.
You can't serve with not acting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. So your next question you wanted?
We're going to move on to physical investment.
Yeah.
So tell me more about that.
Well, physical investments are as simple as making investments in yourself to help you be fit, be fab and fabulous, like Iwo Akinyoyenu will say.
Wow, interesting. Okay, for someone who is trying to lose weight to please other people, is it really good?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, self-esteem comes in that,
okay,
because the reason why people want to look good, apart from, of course, the major reason is self-esteem, and the other is because of others' approval. They want social validation, like I always say, just social validation. Well, when we talk about physical investment, that talks about exercises, that talks about getting fit, getting in shape. For someone who is trying to get in shape, or get slimmed down.
Okay.
Well, if that will help the person with his calling, then the person can go ahead.
It's true. You don't need to be all saggy and fat, and and then you have to take every flight. You're going to speak to many, and you're traveling, you're always on the road, and then you're so fat that the plane seats, you have to buy 2 tickets. You're going to waste money now. So you have to make investment.
Well, for someone who's listening to us right now who's fat, there's nothing bad about being fat.
Okay, I know.
In fact, the reason why there's someone out there who actually loves you the way you are.
Of course. I'm just talking about the plane seat. Okay, just kidding. I'm just kidding. You don't get to buy 2 seats, as in 2 seats going, 2 seats coming.
Forget that thing.
Plenty money.
I'm not going to accept it.
Hello, I'm thinking mental investment here, the financial aspect.
I'm not going to accept that.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so now let's move on to spiritual investment.
Yeah, spiritual investment talks about the activities. In fact, I'll call it activity because there's nothing, how should I say that? There's nothing inactive about investment.
Okay.
Most of the investments you can make in yourself, they are active investments. There's no passive investment that yield certain results. So talking about spiritual investment, that includes praying and sometimes fasting.
Okay.
And of course, regular meditations, like Proverbs 18:1 we say, is it Proverbs 18:1? Yeah, I think Proverbs 18:1 it says, a man out of separation. He said, a man after having separated himself intermeddles with all wisdom.
Okay.
That's what Proverbs 18:1
explains
says.
Solomon's life.
Yeah, so you can go apart once in a while to just pray, fast,
Retreats.
meditate, personal retreats. I have a friend by the name Davidson Amedu.
Okay.
We call him Dr. Tali.
Okay.
Recently he went on a retreat, on a personal retreat. I think some months back I even had my own personal retreat. I think I did a podcast on that.
Okay.
Of the results of my personal retreats.
Okay.
I'll share the link to the podcast in the show notes. So if you are listening, you can get that.
There's a man of God.
Okay.
There's a man of God who called. He made a call to the congregation. He said, if you want to work for God, I want you to come out. If you want to work for God, let me see you come out. And then we saw young, vibrant people coming out, and then we saw one old man, very old, with gray hairs, and he was like shaking her. I want to work for God. So the man was like, please go back. All the while, like you can imagine that you didn't spend your youth
working for God,
and then when you're already like crumbs, you're shaking, and then you're talking about
the best time to maximize potential is actually when you are young.
When you're young, exactly.
There's nothing about potential when you are old. In fact, potential, so it's whatever you do with the potentials you have that will yield you results when you are old. Like in my coaching sessions, what I say is, if youthhood is a blunder, manhood becomes a regret.
Very true.
Well, because of the way they have changed the word manhood in Nigeria, adulthood.
Okay, adulthood.
So, if youthhood is a blunder, adulthood becomes a regret.
Okay.
And if youthhood was a lot of investment, adulthood is going to be enjoyment.
Of course. So imagine if that man had, spent his time doing the whole personal retreat, as in, helping people, reaching out to people, spiritually, as in, doing the whole missions and all that.
Even mentally, from the story, I can see that the man did not invest in himself mentally, neither did he invest in himself
spiritually.
Not even spiritually, physically.
No, like seriously, this man was very, very old. Like old.
Not every old person.
This capital letter old. Capital letter old. No, like he was very, very old. Like very, very old, and it was obvious he didn't serve God in his youth, and then he was trying to bring his old age to come and serve God. Of course, who will listen to him at that particular time? Well, maybe there'll be somebody. God could still use him, but yeah. So, okay.
That's the reason why you are listening to us right now. The best time to invest in yourself right now is now that you are young.
Yeah.
The best time to invest in whatever it is you are going to make out of your life as you grow up, as you grow old, is now that you are young.
That's very true.
So the best thing you can do right now is just to, after listening to this tip, sit down. After listening to this podcast, I said tip, interesting. After listening to this podcast, the next best thing you can do is to sit down and then do an evaluation. That will be the tip I'll share. Sit down and do an evaluation. That is, first begin with evaluating yourself. You evaluate yourself. When you sit down and evaluate yourself, you evaluate your talents, gifts, and abilities. You evaluate your passion. You evaluate the sphere of influence where you are called. And the next thing to do is to find out who can help me get to where I need to get to. That's where you can now bring in coaches, and then you look out for books, materials, and resources to consume, to gather tapes, podcasts that will help you get there. Then you should also have a plan of exercises that you'll be doing every day, or maybe like 3 times a week. It could involve jogging, it could involve running, it could involve some minor exercises. You don't have to get a gym to stay in shape anyway. So, and that's for spiritual. If you have to anyway.
Please go.
For spiritual investment, you could say, okay, maybe like once in 2 weeks or once in a week, you would just go on a personal retreat, or maybe once in a quarter of the year, you go on a personal retreat. While I say that, an idea flashed to my mind. We are just a few days to the end of 2014.
Yeah.
And the best time to actually to start making investment in your life
is now.
Towards next year, it's now.
Yeah.
There are about 90 something days in this year. Anyway, this is where we end this episode of the podcast. So if you've got questions or comments you want to make, visit audacitytolead.com/12, that is 12, and leave your comments there. You want to ask me questions personally, you can send me a mail, dayo@audacitytolead.com, but I would most prefer that you send me a voice message, or better go to audacitytolead.com/questions and leave your questions there. I'll be glad to answer you, and Tara will also be available to answer any question you send to us. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. My handle is @IamDayoSamuel, and Tara is
@TaraN.
Well, this is the end of this episode. Very short, sharp, and direct.
Thank you very much, Dayo.
We'll be seeing you again next week on the next episode, where we're going to be talking about increasing your personal productivity.
Dayo, thank you very much for sharing this.
Thank you so much for being here, Tara.
Thank you.
Don't ever forget to get focused, get started, and be impactful.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Audacity to Lead podcast. We believe you've been inspired and greatly challenged to step out and lead with more influence and impact. Till next Tuesday, when we bring you another episode of the podcast. For more resources, visit audacitytolead.com.